Hey everybody, welcome back to this Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Let's Play. I am Drak. Let's get to it, shall we? First of all, last time on the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Let's Play... Wow, that's good. That gets pretty long-winded after all. Last time, well, we were doing this. We were going through Pazuzu's tower. Pazuzu! If you're asking for anything more than that, well, we really haven't done much. We've cut off a couple of elevators. We've gotten the Sword of Omens from Lino. Yeah, we fought Lino. He was an awesome boss fight. Okay, not really. He was a little overpowered, so we had to cheat. Yeah, that's right. I used a Game Genie. I'm proud of that. No, we're just still trekking through Pazuzu's tower to free the Wind Crystal. And the way that we do that is Pazuzu, unfortunately, has a really bad habit of teleporting off. And so we have to cut off all the open elevators so that he can't teleport anywhere, and we can take him on. But in the meantime, this is good because this is experience for Benjamin so that he can start getting to where Kaylee is. And that's always a good thing. But in the meantime, I have finally adopted the concept of using some of my magic to nuke down enemies, make fights go quicker, and make this overall dungeon go quicker. Because we've already been here for like 2 or 3 parts. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Pazuzu, but he's got a really, really big tower. And I know I've been apologizing for this a lot recently, but again, it is allergy season for me, so if I start sniffly, I will try and cut that out as much as possible, but there it is. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get to it. And I'm deciding whether or not to go forward because there's an enemy in the way and I don't want to deal with sorcerers. That's okay, I have white. The racist spell that kills all. Benjamin, you're a racist. Because you only use white and black magic. I'm going to stop this right now. Because it's not going to go anywhere good. There we go. We pull out Excalibur and it kills. I love my inventory screen right now. So you have potion, key. Gas mask? Fantasy mixed in with reality? Oh, look, more Naga. Gee, you'd think we'd be in the World of Warcraft with all the Naga we've seen. Or at least at a Razor store. I mean, seriously. And there you go. They're down! More sorcerers. More Naga. How dare you make Kaylee a snowman? Snow woman. Is there a politically correct term for snowman? Never mind, I don't want to know. Oh, come on. I'm only using one spell at the moment. I'm like, maybe I'll be safe, just in case Pazuzu's a pain in my butt. And we gotta go back down because that stupid Naga's in our way. That's okay, though. I can vouch the fact that we are almost done. I know I've said that a couple times, guys. We're almost done. We've gotten a couple of platforms taken care of. Now we just gotta make our way. Oh, and this is gonna be fun. At least we're getting some variety now. It's not like all sorcerers, all chimeras, all Naga. Except we have a healer in the bunch. Dang it. And apparently we got a spell reflect. That's rare, actually, in this game. I don't think anybody else knows how to reflect. Spell reflection comes in later in other Final Fantasy games. It's actually an interesting mechanic, especially with certain summoned creatures. For those who know whom I'm talking about, yeah. Those fights were always interesting if you didn't understand the strategy. For those who don't, eventually in the Final Fantasy universe, summoners get unlocked. And one of the top summons you can usually get, I want to say always, but usually can get, because it changed over time, was Bahamut. And he was or Bahamut, however you want to say it. And he was the big bad. He was always the biggest and baddest summon. Biggest, baddest summon. But the way that you got him was a unique strategy, because his overall strategy was to just nuke you to death. You know, as he does when you get him as a summon. He'll nuke your enemies to death. So what you have to do is cast a reflection spell on everybody in the party, and as soon as he hits the big nuke, it goes back to him. And then you have to cast it all over again. In the meantime, he's doing a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a fun fight. It usually always is when they do something like that. The only time where it wasn't fun was Final Fantasy VIII. And he had to, what was it? I think he had to spell out Mega Flare, which is always his ability. Final Fantasy VIII. If I were to say, like, there was a solid couple of Final Fantasy titles that I don't like, 8 would be among them. And it's not because the story's not interesting, it really is just the gameplay itself. I'm willing to go through horrible gameplay if the story's good. And the story, I'm not saying is bad by any stretch, but it's meh. It's kind of uninteresting. It doesn't keep you going. And so when the gameplay is as bad as it was in 8, then it's just not worth it. I know, I'm talking bad about a Final Fantasy game. I do like everything in my power to talk up Mystic Quest. Mystic Quest is a whole other deal. 8 was just not one of the good titles. If I were to actually give a list of the titles in the Final Fantasy line that I don't like, here we go, guys. I'm going to knock Final Fantasy, so it's on tape. I will give you 3 examples. 1 was 2. I do not like Final Fantasy 2. And the reason I don't like it is simply because of the stupid stat mechanic. Where most Final Fantasy games will run off of a mainstream system. You know, you level up and you get experience and all that. This one decided, oh, we're going to be one of those unusual RPGs where you level stats individually. Yeah, that's going to work real well, right? Well, they thought so, and unfortunately, that's one of the Final Fantasy titles that isn't considered the best. At least as far as I know in the US. Another title that I would put in, obviously, is Final Fantasy VIII. I think Final Fantasy VIII had a good premise. The story needed some work, but could ultimately have been done. The problem with that, again, is gameplay. The junction system in 8 is horrendous. I don't know if they actually gave the most thought they needed to before they implemented the junction system. And that's sad, because it actually was an interesting concept. And I felt it just got bogged down with a bunch of meaningless activity. Because you had to go and draw the spells, and that's how you beefed up your stats. And so that's broken in a way. The other way, or the final one, and I'm probably going to get bashed for this. I don't consider 14 because I haven't played 14, I have no interest, and 11, the same thing. 11 is an MMO. I've never played it, so I can't judge it. 12. Just gonna let that sink in because people are gonna have problems with that. I don't like 12. And here's why. I have said over and over, I'm a big person for story. I'm not saying I had a problem entirely with the story of the game. My problem was there was a lot of meaningless filler. There was way too much. Again, there was a gameplay problem because they were trying to, from what people have told me, they were using 11's system in 12. And it just didn't feel all that great, especially since it felt like we were getting MMO mechanics in the mainstream RPG. My biggest problem, however, is Vaughn. I'll let you flame for a second. Vaughn's my problem. Vaughn doesn't make sense as a character. Especially a main character. If anything, I probably wouldn't come down on 12 that hard if, say, Balthier was the main character. Because it felt like, yeah, he was. I don't know why they didn't just say, okay, well, you know, we're doing all this stuff with this character Balthier. Let's just make him the main character. And Vaughn is sub-character number 1. I mean, it's not like Final Fantasy hasn't done that before, where we've had a bunch of characters we couldn't give two craps about. And yeah, I said that. There are Final Fantasy characters that we just couldn't give two craps about in some games. So, I don't know why Vaughn was even put in. I get his brother. I get that whole prologue story. But you could still have Balthier as the main character, or even Bosch. And that way I can't remember his, I think it was Rex. That whole story would have made a little bit more sense, because then you could have been Balthier in prison, and then Bosch in prison, and too many B's. Bosch is in prison and Balthier frees him. Maybe they're good friends. I don't know. I'm just spouting ideas, but yeah, I don't like 12. 2, 8, and 12. Those are the ones that I usually have the most beef with. I'm sorry if that offends most, but it's my viewpoint. Everybody's list is different. Maybe at some point I'll start doing some top 10s myself, but if you guys would like to see them, feel free to comment. I would be open to the idea. But yeah. So just to give you guys a frame of reference, it is pretty much almost the end of the summer right now. We're coming to mid-August, so it's obviously very hot. Thankfully, the summer movie season is done, and I have finished up. To those who follow the radio program, if you hadn't gotten my announcement on Facebook, I do a radio program for my college radio station, and unfortunately we are on a bit of a hiatus just because they're getting ready to move over to a new studio. So as soon as they give me the okay that I can start doing things again, I will let you guys know. If I do things in the meantime, which I am strongly considering, I will let you know. Maybe we'll do best of the summer or best of the moments of the summer kind of thing. I would definitely like to bring in some people for commentary on things like E3, on the movie season, things like that. And yeah, I finished out the movie season. Last movie I saw was The Wolverine, and I ended the summer on that. I am going to be doing some fall reviews because some movies looked interesting. Just don't expect a whole lot until October or November. Because we're going to start with Ender's Game, and then probably... I'm trying to think. I think the last one that I'm doing... It's not The Hobbit. I want to say it's The Hobbit, but it's not. I'll have to get back to you guys, but it's like close to a New Year's movie. But this year, I was able to see, for the summer, I saw Iron Man 3, Star Trek Into Darkness, Man of Steel, Lone Ranger, Despicable Me 2, Wolverine. I think that was it. Oh, and Pacific Rim. And oh my gosh, Pacific Rim by far is that, and Star Trek Into Darkness are by far the best movies I saw all summer. They are great. In fact, I am like looking for excuses to go see Pacific Rim again, and nobody's giving me one. I'm not usually the kind of guy who goes to movies alone, I occasionally will for a movie review, just because I know that I'm a pain in the butt because I'm quiet and I'm taking notes. But I have looked for reasons just to take, like, my wife to Pacific Rim. And I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. Let's go see Pacific Rim. For what? Because it's Tuesday. Because you want to see Pacific Rim. Yes! What's wrong with that? So she laughs at me, and then I'm like, come on. Maybe one of these days I'll have to bite the bullet and just go myself. That is definitely going to be one of those movies that gets the DVD watched a lot. And then to those who are also following up, you may notice a little bit of an echo on the microphone. That is because I'm in a new studio. I am finally moved into a brand new house. I'm very excited to be here. And so I'm trying to adjust things, but it may take some time, so bear with me on that. I'm going to try and cut out as much of the echo as I can. But yeah, I'm in my new house. I'm very happy to be a homeowner. And yay! Also, the moving process has just taken all it can out of me. Alright, and I actually think we cut off every elevator, so it is time, finally! We are going to take down Pazuzu! Pazuzu! Everybody wants me to talk more like the professor! Huzzah! And people will appreciate that, I do the professor in this LP, but for those who don't follow my other channel, which is youtube.com/DrakandShadow, I know, shameless plug. I'm also doing the professor there because we just started up our Pokemon Let's Play, our first fan request Let's Play. We decided to do Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Yellow, so I'm tackling Pokemon Blue, and Alex, or Shadowblazer 3000, is tackling Pokemon Yellow. And we just kind of made the rule that, okay, it's your game, you do the voices, so my Professor Oak is the professor from Futurama. Ash, this is the way you catch a Pokemon! Huzzah! Alright, we are prepping. Are we good? Yes, we are! Playtime's over! Prepare to meet your doom! Oh, Pazuzu! We can't forget about Captain Mac! He's part of the story! Huzzah! Okay, I'll stop. Alright, now Pazuzu is actually where the difficulty curve changes in this game, because they actually give you somewhat of a difficult fight. There will actually be mechanics you have to watch for. Oh my gosh, they're actually trying to teach you something. That sometimes bosses will have unique mechanics that you need to watch for. In this case, Pazuzu has what's called Sight Shield, where he will change position, you'll see it, and anything that you throw at him will miss, and he will counterattack it and hit you harder. So, the thing you learn from this is, don't attack while the Sight Shield is up, wait for him to take it down, and then start hammering him again. But in the meantime, he's just going to pelt us with wind-based spells. You know, he's the wind-based boss. In the meantime, in this part of the game, you'll see where I just kind of selectively put... Oh, here we go. Psych Shield. Right. There you go. Now, you don't want to attack. So at this point, you take the time to cure. And you'll also notice, as I was saying before, from here on in, I played a little smarter. Because now the bosses are hitting hard enough that I actually do want to have either Benjamin or whomever is with him, in this case Kaylee, as a set healer. So whomever is doing more damage is doing the damage and the other is healing. And that's just a good idea. That way you can keep caught up in every case, in every scenario of whatever anybody's doing. It's good RPG playing, yes! I love doing the professor! Huzzah! Good news, everyone! Drak likes doing the professor voice! Hooray! Alright, first battle damage. And I guess we knocked the wind out of him? Maybe his morning jog or morning flap was too much for him? I don't know. Wow, a boss that can do a pile driver. And I don't know what actually, yeah, I do. Sometimes, guys, in RPGs, you get set into a rhythm. And Drak wasn't paying attention. And he accidentally changed the target of a cure to Pazuzu. And it missed. So, yay, don't do that, guys. But I did it by accident. Hooray! It happens. I mean, once you get into boss fights in RPGs, you tend to get into a bit of a mode. Because you're only doing a set rotation. You know, this character does this, your healer does that, and you just let them go. So I apologize for my fail. I made up for it. I started paying attention. And second stage of battle damage, where he's apparently... do I want to go further here? I mean, he obviously lost his balance. He fell. He's in kind of a weird position, but okay. Good on you, man. Sight shield is down. So now we can start pelting him again. After he hits me with a sky attack. Silly Pazuzu. Now, people will notice I'm not using white. I'm actually using Flare. Flare is usually in games the best single target spell for black magic that you can get. So I use it. And so it is doing very awesome in this case. Ouch, 1,000 damage. And yeah, he looks a little pissed. Just gonna say. It's also just a good idea when he hits the Psych Shield phase and you don't have, like, spare healing to do. Just have your character defend. That way they can minimize the damage. Maybe you can avoid having to do another heal. Save yourself some MP, or in this case, you know, charges or whatever you want to call this. And he hit me with another pile driver, man. I'm not appreciating that, Pazuzu. The 2,000 damage, and he's down! Yes! Alright, now in this case, we go up to the top, because we now have control of the elevators. Mwahaha! And... the Wind Crystal is reborn, or rescued, or saved, or whatever you want to call it. Alright, guys, that's all 4 crystals. But are we done? Of course not. This is a Final Fantasy game. Of course there's going to be more to do. And now we have the Sky Coin, so the Focus Tower is even more open to us. But in the meantime, let's see... we're gonna get healed up and get our oh, yeah, that's right. We have the exit spell. Yay! I don't have to walk all the way down for Pazuzu's tower. Alright, but in the meantime, I think we are gonna get ready to take another break. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. I am Drak, and this is a Let's Play of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. We'll see you next time.